this computer. Hello and welcome. So happy to be here today with you and Danielle. And Danielle is here to talk about a topic that for most of us entrepreneurs, we just don't even want to think about. We want to avoid it, but we have to deal with it. We have to deal with our finances every day of the week. And it can be a challenge. It can be overwhelming. And I don't know, but most people that I know who are in the coaching business or who are moms, like they just don't want to deal with it. Good, bad, right, or wrong. That's just the deal. But Danielle, this is your genius, and I'd love to hear about your story, like how you got here, and yeah, a little bit more about you.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much for having me here. I love sharing and talking about all things money and finance. I think that we don't talk about it enough. And that's why it's so hard as entrepreneurs and mothers to talk about it because we're not talking about it enough. And so I want to take all the overwhelm out of this topic. So I started my company 7.5 years ago, Kickstart Accounting. The mission of the company is to help especially women entrepreneurs understand their numbers so that they can have the business that they love and that they want to have. I had a very, very windy journey through to entrepreneurship. I think like many people. So I was working for a corporate accounting position as the CFO, also a mom of two kids at the time. And what I found was although I was having a great time doing what I did every single day as a CFO, I was really spending my days making the rich rich, right? So I would go in every day and lead the accounting department and help the board of directors and the investors and the CEOs. I would help all of them make really, really strong business decisions using all the accounting information, all the data that I was giving to them. And I was learning so much from them about how they were able to make really powerful, swift decisions. It was amazing to witness. However, I knew that there was more of a calling for me. Not only was I leaving my kids all day to be in a corporate environment, I also wasn't making the impact that I knew I could make. I knew that there were entrepreneurs, especially women entrepreneurs, who desperately needed that same expertise, that same data, that same know-how, the same decision-making tools as these CEOs and investors had. But what I found was that we needed bookkeeping first. So in entrepreneurship, when I talk about make data-driven decisions, people are like, whoa, I don't even have bookkeeping in place. Hold on. And so as our firm continued on, we said, all right, let's pause. We need bookkeeping. We need to have a strong foundation for every single business owner so that then people can make data-driven decisions. Then we can use all these tools and techniques. And so that's what our firm does. We do bookkeeping for entrepreneurs to help them make business decisions. I get to wake up every single morning and impact so many people and come and talk on beautiful podcasts like yours about how people can overcome the fear around money and really step into your journey as entrepreneurs.
I love that. And why numbers? What was it about like your life and how it unfolded that you would go to accounting? What was that? I'm really curious about that.
Yeah, interesting. So I'm not one of those people who ever said I would become an accountant. Actually, it was very surprising to my entire family. I was, yeah, I'm pretty sure I failed algebra. I was not a numbers person growing up. However, I actually did the cosmetology program in high school, and I worked as a hairdresser coming out of high school as I was going through college. And I actually started my college career because I wanted to open up my own hair salon. But what I found once I got into the hair salon was that I loved the numbers piece of it. And so I would work with all the other hairstylists and say, all right, if yes, you could do 25 haircuts today, but because you can charge more for a color and a highlight, let's do 4 color and highlights and only haircuts supercuts as an add-on, and look at how much more money you can make. And then if you make X dollars, you can get into the next commission tier. And so I was helping the other stylists say, all right, what commission tier do we want to be at? How much money do we want to make? Okay, how do we get there? How many clients do we need to see? What services can we offer them? How do we get those clients to come back to us and repeat clients? And really diving into all of the numbers behind being a hairdresser. I know that sounds crazy, but I
No, it
just,
doesn't at all. And
yeah,
strategy too. It's not just numbers. I'm also hearing strategy.
yeah, yeah. And so
Yeah.
I loved it. And I loved helping the other stylists too, right? It wasn't just, how do I get more money? How do I see more people? I would sit down with all of them and say, all right, how do we all work together? There was corporate goals too. So if the whole salon had a goal, we got even more money. So I said, how do we all hit this goal together? And so I realized I loved numbers. I loved working as a team. I loved mentoring other people. And then, took me a while to get to entrepreneurship, working through corporate, but it all started in that hair salon.
That is so interesting. I never would have known. That is
Yeah.
really, and leadership. I hear also leadership in there.
Yeah,
And not only
absolutely.
do entrepreneurs leave numbers to the last thing because they don't know, because you're making a lot of hypotheses, and do those hypotheses, come true or don't they? And then you've got to pivot. And so it's tricky. It's really tricky, especially when you're starting up. It's different when your turnover is several million and then you go from, I don't know, 14 million to 20 million, then you have different problems too. But what stage entrepreneur does your firm usually work with?
Usually we're working with clients who are just hitting six figures up through about a half a million. Some of our clients are hitting their first million. Uh, we find that it's more about the mindset of where you're at within your accounting journey and your financial journey within entrepreneurship than the revenue. So for us, it's the
That
people
is so
who,
interesting. Wow.
yeah, because you could be bringing in $500,000 a year, but you don't even know that you're doing it, right? We had a client who came to us a few years ago who said, Danielle, I'm so little, my business is so small. I don't even know that you'll want to work with me. But I don't have any accounting in place. I don't know what my numbers are. I'm pretty sure I'm losing money. And when we did what we call a catch up. So we pulled in all the transactions year to date into the QuickBooks file. And we said, no, you are not little. You are doing $500,000 a year. You need to actually start saving for taxes because you have a profit. And and so it's not about, are you hitting six figures? Are you hitting seven figures? It's, where are you at? Do you have the right systems in place? Do you have a team to be able to go to and say, hey, I'm thinking about hiring on another person. Can I afford it? Do I have the budget for this? Help me plan out my next 6 months. Help me plan out my next year to make sure that I can afford to hire somebody.
Yeah.
Am I saving enough for taxes?
Mhm.
I'm thinking about launching a new revenue line. What does that look like? And so having a team behind you to be able to support the decisions is even more important than what's your revenue and what's your profit.
I love that. That's really interesting. I was not expecting you to say that. I mean, and like finances, people also leave their health to the last, item on the list, especially entrepreneurs, because, we feel like we have to be there all the time and working evenings and weekends. And it's like, work hard and then it'll work, and that's not always the case, actually. Frequently,
That's actually,
actually, isn't
it's,
the case.
I really don't think it's, I did learn the hard way. When I first started the business, I was, pulling my computer back into my bed after the kids went to bed. And I was listening to a lot of motivational speakers that were talking about, I get up earlier than you and
Right.
I'll get the deal because I'm going to get there first. And
Mhm.
I really subscribed to that mindset. And throughout the years, I really put wellness as a priority for me personally. And it shows in my business because this morning I did my entire morning routine and worked out and had my smoothie and did my meditation and got outside with the dog. But I was able to, when I sat down at my desk, I was able to give you my best energy. Whereas if I would have been the first one to the office, or we work virtually, so that's a joke, but been the first one to my computer and neglected my sleep and neglected myself, I wouldn't show up for my clients. I wouldn't show up for my team with that same energy. So I hope
Mhm.
that entrepreneurs can get off the grind mentality and really put themselves first.
Yeah, because if not, it leads to burnout. I can say, firsthand, as well as the thousands of clients I've worked with, it leads to burnout. It does. So you're not really killing yourself like today, but if you keep it up, it really catches up with you. You age prematurely, you don't have energy and stamina. Oftentimes it leads to some kind of disease. And so we don't want any of that, right? Of course not, especially for mothers. Um, because our kids are looking at us and we're modeling for them. It's really interesting. My daughter said to me yesterday, Mom, I really like a morning routine. She's going to be 17 in a few months. And I said, yeah, and I just kind of like nodded my head and I'm thinking to myself, I've been trying to tell
But if you would have said it, she wouldn't have listened. If
no,
you just do it, then they'll see it and have that experience ingrained in them.
exactly. And she's like, yours is a little elaborate, Mom. It's like, okay, got it. So cute. Um, so you're a mom of two, you said?
Yes, too. Yes.
Yeah. So how old are they?
My daughter's 16 and my son is 12.
Okay, so we both have 16-year-old girls.
Yeah, yeah, it's an age.
It's pretty incredible. I'd say parenting has been my greatest teacher.
Yes, absolutely. And teacher, really, and how I'm showing up for them, and how I not just am leading, my team, my business, and my movement, but leading my household and leading my example. It really has helped me tune into that experience that I don't think if I had become an entrepreneur, I would have been as in tune to that self development of what they're seeing and how I'm impacting them.
Yeah, it's such a huge responsibility. I don't think I realized how big of a responsibility it is and until actually she got into, her teens. It's enormous. And I think that our kids are also not really learning financial literacy. It is astounding how much my daughter has learned, and I've taught her, but there isn't any infrastructure actually to teach these kids. And like for the longest time, she's like, well, doesn't like the money, she just thought the money filled the bank account because everything got paid with cards. There wasn't so much cash, and there isn't for this generation,
Yeah.
actually. And so it's just so fascinating, and it's such a needed time for that.
Yeah. They are not getting it in school. And I don't know if this is good or bad, but you know, my kids actually get frustrated with the school system
Mm.
because um, they realize that they're going to come out and not know how to file their tax return or balance a checkbook or invest in stocks. And so they've heard me say this for so long that we need to learn these things, that they need to have these tools as they grow up. And so they've actually become frustrated, in school, that they're not able to get those tools. So we've talked a lot about how we can give them the tools so that when they are ready to step out on their own, they're going to be ready. And if they're ever ready for entrepreneurship, that they have the tools um, to be able to make that leap. And when I say tools, I don't just mean the actual physical tools, the money mindset, the wherewithal
Mm,
to be able to,
yeah,
to do that.
that's
We
big.
don't, yeah, we don't realize the impact that our words and our actions have on the money mindset piece.
It's true. The scarcity mindset, for example, and which I definitely suffer from, I'll be perfectly honest. And but I also give my daughter money to manage. Like I don't mean like to invest, although she does have family members who've done that, and she's not quite sure how to navigate that world yet. But she's like, it's easy. Just invest in stocks, Mom, ETFs. And I'm like, okay. That sounds really easy, but I don't know. No, but also creating limits and then requiring her to like budget. Like it's really interesting to see and watch it unfold. And like she'll get herself into a little bit of debt, and I get nervous. I'm like, no, 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 no. It's so cute, but I'm enabling it. It's like such, how it goes.
Yeah, we're actually trying a new system for my son. We didn't do this with my daughter, but he's 12 and he's wanted a little bit more freedom to go out to eat with his friends or
Yeah.
whatnot. So we're trying. It's called Green Light. It's a debit card for kids and teens that you can preload it, and there's an app on their phone so they can see where they've spent money and how much money they have left to
Oh,
spend.
I like that.
So we're going to try that over the next few months to see how that goes. Because um, it, I don't want to, with my daughter, and I felt like I could do this. I gave her, a credit card under my name, um, but I don't think you learn the same valuable insight by having a limit and being able to see where you've spent money.
Absolutely. I was able to get my daughter a bank account, and she manages it, but it's she's like, I want a savings account and I want 2 checking accounts. She's so cute. But modeling is key. So as a mom and an entrepreneur that's leading other entrepreneurs, how do you resource yourself? Like if we were to look at you when you're feeling tired, what do you do on those days to kind of get yourself back on track?
I am a big proponent of movement,
Hmm.
whatever that might look like for the day. Most mornings I like to, go for a run or spin, just some kind of lift weights, some kind of activity. I obsessed with yoga, so and a lot of times in the evenings, I love that movement and breath practice.
Mm.
So that's really how I care for myself, is to make sure that I'm putting those things, we talked a little bit earlier, as a priority. And I hope that my kids are seeing that, that when you are tired, or that when you need your cup filled, that you're allowed to prioritize yourself, and you're allowed to prioritize it in a healthy way.
Yeah. And for those of you who are inactive, who are listening or who struggle to work out, it's kind of like it seems like a counter thing. Like I'm tired, so I can't exercise. And I think we're here to tell you that like if I don't exercise, I don't sleep as well. So I wake up feeling, not as well rested. And so it's an essential thing. Like I can't even think straight. Like you were saying, the quality I can bring to this would be totally different than if hadn't had my workout this morning. And it's there's no food, there's no supplement, there's no treatment that can replace what exercise does to your brain and your physiology. It's
Yeah.
just
And
incredible.
I think it's daunting for people. You don't, I didn't go and sign up for the marathon, right? I signed up for the
Mm.
5K first, and just started movement, right? Started that walk. And I have to remind myself every day, right? I'm tired. That means you go, right? That doesn't mean you don't go. That means you have to make sure that you go. But it's the same thing. I use this analogy when I talk about finances too, right? So people are like, well, look at your profit and loss statement. I can't even imagine getting to my profit and loss statement. What does it even mean? So start small, right? So you start by managing your numbers in a small way today, and then you build on that tomorrow. It's the same with a physical activity routine. You start really small and you build on it. So I think it's just so important to take away that lesson, and that no matter what feels difficult, you can chunk it down and just start where you are today, and then let
Yeah.
momentum build on itself.
Oh, I love that. And it's such a, because I was just going to ask you what piece of advice you'd leave for our audience. And you must have been
Got
reading
you.
my mind. That's brilliant. I really appreciate it. So you have some tools that can help. I'm sure your firm could help also, like one-on-one, but could you tell us a little bit more about how people find you and what it is that they can do to help themselves?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I would love for everyone to come to the website, profitplannerbookkeeping.com. There are, we wrote a book about 2 years ago called the Profit Planner Book Series. So if you're somebody who's working as an entrepreneur on your own and you need some guidance on working through your money mindset and the foundations of bookkeeping, you can find more information about that. We have a 5-day video boot camp where we'll email you a video each day for 5 days. Again, it's the basics to get you started. I don't want to throw you into the deep end. I'm not signing you up for the marathon. I want you to sign up for the 5K, right? This is the first action step. This is the first piece to get you set up for success in the finances of your company. Come hang out on social media. We are at Kickstart Accounting. Instagram is my absolute favorite. We're doing some really fun polls and tips and tricks there lately. So
Nice. Nice. You've got these programs they can enroll in, but they can also contact you directly or your team directly so that they can maybe get a little excavation for.
yeah. So if you're somebody who's like, I don't want anything to do with this on my own, I'm ready for some help, or you want to talk about your specific situation, you can go to calendly.com/kickstart accounting, book a strategy call. We want to hear about your situation. Our team is here, ready and waiting. We love being a resource for entrepreneurs. That's literally what my entire team wakes up every morning to do. So you could book a call, talk about your specific situation, and explore whether or not it'd be a good fit for you to get these bookkeeping procedures in order and get it most off your plate so that you can focus on you, your health, and your business.
I love it. And, especially if you're someone who doesn't even know where to start. It sounds like they should
Yes.
go because everyone
Yes.
needs it actually, unless you got it handled, which most entrepreneurs I know do not, especially in the size that you're talking about. So I just love what you're doing. Thank you so much for sharing your story and the work that you're doing.
Thank you for having me here. I appreciate it.